What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have some final bits of news coming from IGN's first coverage for Destiny 2 this month. And they basically ran an AMA where people in the community can ask questions. IGN have picked a bunch of questions out and forwarded them to Bungie for responses. And we have some information about Super Energy, Guardian Dialogue as well, which is pretty interesting, some balance stuff as well as mention of some swords, which is pretty cool. So I'll just read out the questions and tell you guys the answers and perhaps give you a few thoughts on them as well. So the first question is there any reason as to why we didn't see a theatre mode in Destiny 1, and will it be included in Destiny 2? Mark Noseworthy says, Destiny 2 doesn't feature a theatre mode. I don't know for certain if the sword glitch still functions. We've changed a lot of the code and content under the hood for how things work, including swords, of which there are now many types. So a bit of a deflection on the answer right there, but he does talk about swords and says there are many new types of sword in Destiny 2, which is pretty awesome. We have seen a few of them in trailers and everything like that, but we don't have any idea of their kind of new abilities or anything that we'll see, so it will be super exciting to get our hands on some of these weapons. Up next, there's a question about languages. So will we have any sort of Arabic in game, and is there a place where I can see a complete list of languages? Mark Noseworthy says, unfortunately Arabic isn't supported. Our localization team is eager to take on every language, but they do have limits. He does give an official list of locales which they plan to support at launch for Destiny 2, so perhaps there will be others added later, but for now it stands with Latin American, Spanish, Russian, Polish and Chinese, which are all brand new to Destiny 2. He doesn't actually list the other languages, but of course these are ones which have already been supported in Destiny previously. The next question is, it's been mentioned a few times that Destiny 2 will be a lot easier to update than Destiny 1. How quick or frequent will this be? Mark Noseworthy says, we regularly patched Destiny 1 and remain committed to doing that again with Destiny 2. I think where we didn't meet our own expectations and that of the community was with rich new content on a predictable schedule. We tried a lot of different shapes and sizes in Destiny 1, and we're confident that we have a really good offering in the pipe for Destiny 2. Players will always want more, and we're going to try as hard as we can to deliver. So that's definitely promising. More content is always good. Of course, Bungie have been expanding the studio. They're already working on post-release content for Destiny 2, but of course we'll have to wait and see how it turns out down the road. Next question is, will Destiny 2 support HDR or have any enhancement on the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X? Mark Noseworthy says, as you can see in the D2 beta, the PS4 Pro is already supporting dynamic 4K resolution, and the Xbox One X ships after Destiny 2 launches, so we don't have any announcements for now on how we're supporting it, but it is something that we're interested in. In terms of HDR, we won't support full HDR at launch for consoles. We're very excited about the new feature and very much want to see it arrive sometime post-launch, but I can't promise a date today. So of course we know that we get 4K upscale on the PS4 Pro. No word about the Xbox One X, but I would imagine we'll probably see 4K on there as well, but Bungie won't give us that information until post-launch of the Xbox One X. The next question is, Dear Bungie, in earlier comments you mentioned that for the first time cloud servers will be used for gameplay in the Destiny franchise. Can you please elaborate on how specifically the networking methodology of Destiny 2 will be different from what we saw in Destiny 1? And Mark Noseworthy simply redirects to the Bungie blog article about how networking is changing in Destiny 2. We have spoken about that previously. There's a kind of hybrid dedicated P2P server connection thing going on. I will leave the link in the description to that article if you want to check it out. The next question is answered by Luke Smith, and this is a big one. So the question is, will our characters remain mute through the sequel? And Luke Smith says, yep. And that's it. So it looks like we're not going to be having any character dialogue from our Guardians, at least, in Destiny 2. In the beta, we didn't see any dialogue and there was a lot of anticipation about that. You know, was it cut out for the beta? Is it something they're still working on? But now we have an answer. Our Guardians will not talk in Destiny 2. It's always been kind of a tricky area in terms of kind of the idea of the game and the lore of the game. In Destiny 1, they didn't do the best job of having kind of Guardian dialogue in the game, and it appears that it's something they've just completely steered away from. So I'm sure some people are going to be disappointed about this, but the answer is no, there is no character dialogue. The next question is, are there any multi-passenger vehicles? And the simple answer to that is nope. So we won't be flying around in ships with our buddies or cramming into tanks to take on a strike or anything like that. The next question is, with the resilience, recovery and agility on the armor now, will the armor have a visual look to it that reflects the boosts that it has? For example, high resilience will appear as heavy armor and high agility will be sleeker or thinner armor, and Luke Smith says no. So these stats won't actually change your physical or visual appearance on your character, which is, I think, something that we weren't anticipating. This is a good question though. What are some of the changes you're making to the game as a result of the feedback from the beta? And Luke Smith said by the time the beta was live, the team had already been playing a pretty different version of the PvE tuning from our couches. Grenades are now more powerful, kinetic energy weapon damage has been improved, power ammo economy has been refactored. But he also says they've made tons and tons of changes of varying sizes, and that is the function of closing down a video game. They're almost there. He does say in the wake of the beta, they made a few changes that will increase super regeneration across the game. So that's definitely good. Of course, last week they confirmed that PvE tuning had changed, but they didn't specifically say that we'll be earning supers faster in PvE content in particular. So that's definitely promising from, you know, playing the strike and the kind of story missions in the beta. You know, whenever you're not picking up orbs or anything like that, it does take a very long time to earn supers, so this is definitely a welcome change. The next question is, how much time do we have between launch and the raid dropping? Luke Smith said, like I said before, it's IGN first, not IGN everything, so no answer about when the raid will drop just yet. I think Bungie did say that they will give us that closer to launch or sometime around launch, so we should be in the know, hopefully in advance of when the raid actually drops. There's a question here about Destiny 1, so it says, was there anything that the community missed in Destiny 1 that Bungie snuck into the game? Luke Smith said, on one hand probably, and on the other hand probably not. It just depends on if you're left or right-handed. So very cryptic answer, kind of, or just no answer, really, is what that means. And then we have, will PvP and PvE be balanced separately or as one? Luke Smith says PvP and PvE are balanced separately in many ways. Things like outgoing damage across weapon archetypes, ability and melee damage are all different. So I think what you're actually asking is, will the combat rhythm for Destiny 2 diverge across PvE and PvP? And the answer to that is no. In Destiny, you build a character with a bunch of powers, abilities, and we hope a combat rhythm that is consistent across the game. So I guess that's a good answer. Bungie have always kind of had this philosophy of one character that you go everywhere with, and of course the kind of mechanics and the way the game plays is kind of meant to reflect that to a degree as well. They don't want it to feel super different in different environments, but they do have specific tuning for archetypes of weapons, abilities and everything like that. This is kind of stuff that we've had hints about before. That gives us a little bit more clarity, I guess. So overall, it's been a pretty interesting set of questions there. Bungie have avoided giving us any kind of huge chunks of information or anything like that, but definitely interesting stuff. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about all of this in the comments section below, but if you have enjoyed the video, a like is very much appreciated, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny content. For now though, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.